Hi, Terry here again. Morning, I'd like to talk about what I consider to be one of my core practices, or some people call them disciplines, which I don't like that term quite as much, but a practice, something I do intentionally to help keep my life together, to help me keep growing and so on. And it's the practice of journaling. Seemed, I remember growing up that mom kept a diary and she'd buy just a little one. It was only, oh, probably about that size. And when you opened it up to a certain page, it had, the full week right there. And she kept those for probably decades. Just wrote down yesterday we ate this, we did this, and so on. Just kept a kind of a time log of what happened in her life and our life as a family. And over the years, I've developed different ways of doing it. When I had a daily planner, I just make notes on kind of throughout the day, but also in the morning sometimes, not real regularly, but just kind of some thoughts and ideas, that kind of thing. And I did it off and on for decades of career life. But since retiring from full time career life, I've developed the habit, it comes automatically, that almost every day I sit for probably no more, generally no more than 15 minutes and write in a journal. And I've done it in fancy things. I'd go to Barnes and Noble and get a nice 8.5 by 11 size little book with blank pages, and I'd write in that. And and I've tried different notebooks and pads and so on, but now I just use my iPad and I use Word because I'm used to working with Microsoft Word. And I just sit in the morning after probably half an hour or 45 minutes, just reading different things and thinking about things, and sit there for that time and just type in sometimes it's a quote, something that I read that morning. Or sometimes I just feel kind of a weight on my chest, and I write about that. What am I feeling? And some days it's as light as yesterday. We took a walk, or we tried this new recipe and it was really good, or didn't work out so well. So it's wide open. But I would say in a week, generally, I do talk probably 3, 4, 5 days a week, five mornings a week, about what's going on inside. And that's proven to be very helpful for a few reasons, because I am what I call a paddle boater. And a paddle boater by nature faces forward, is always thinking about the future and is paddling toward it. Other people are rowboaters, in my mind, my language, that they sit and they look at the past and they can see where they've been, and that kind of helps them steer toward the future. And for journaling, for me, it helps me anchor in the present. It's like, what am I feeling now? What did we do yesterday? What am I thinking about for today? And once and occasionally I'll write about the future, what I'm dreaming and so on. But it really does tend to help me anchor myself in the present. And it keeps me in touch with my feelings. What am I feeling? And I've learned to ask that as I'm writing, as I'm pondering about what to address in that daily journal entry. What am I feeling? Am I feeling kind of a weight on my chest? Am I feeling relief? Am I feeling an unusual amount of exuberance over something? Am I struggling with something mentally, trying to figure something out? So it keeps me kind of anchored and self aware. And there's a term that psychologists use. They say, talk about the independent observer. And the independent observer is that part of us that develops sometimes, as late as midlife, where you really can step outside of yourself and say, what am I feeling? What's going on in my life? What's happening around me? How am I responding to other people? And gives that place of being able to step apart, not completely, still connected, but step apart and look back. And a journal helps me do that. And I would say over the past decade, decade and a half, maybe 2 decades, I don't know of a much stronger practice that has helped me to continue growing, to not get stuck, to be aware of things that might be arresting my development, to pay attention to yearnings that kind of percolate up from time to time. And sometimes it's helped a great deal, like I said, by a quote, and writing it down reminds me of it. It kind of anchors me into it a little bit. So I commend to you journaling. Maybe you've kept a diary before, which tends to be very small and yeah, or just deal with problems and so on, with issues, but just a journal. It doesn't have to be long. Some days I would say it's a paragraph. This morning was probably more like six.
Sorry, I'm having trouble hearing you.
Sorry about that. Today was probably 6 or 7 paragraphs. Yesterday I had a couple of quotes that I wrote down. So very versatile, but take time. I would encourage you to just write down stuff and be compassionate to yourself. If you sit down and open something up and nothing feels like writing down, then close it and go to the next day. Try it again the next day. And some days I will have 2 or 3 or 4 pages of processing something, and I look and it's been 30, 45 minutes that just flew by. So I commend it to you. Give it a try. Keep it simple. Again, be compassionate with yourself. Pay attention to inside as well as outside. And it may even become a habit that helps you like it has helped me. Have a great week.